All right, so we're on the third video for section 3.4, and we are finding the slope given the equation of a line. So when a linear equation is written in the form y equals mx plus b, so it's solve for y, and we always write the x term first and then the constant term, the slope is just the number in front of the x, or the coefficient of the x term. So we've talked about the word coefficient before because we were adding like terms, and we add coefficients when we add like terms. So in this, we're simply, if the equation is solved for y, we can find the slope very easily. So if you look at this, y equals mx plus b, and notice that b is the y-intercept. That's another thing that is an interesting thing about linear equations. When it's written in this form, we also can find the slope and we can find the y-intercept. So looking at this, you can see my slope is -2. So it's that simple. We'll look at the equation, find the coefficient of the x as long as it's solved for y. Now you can't do this unless it's solved for y. And we can see that the slope of this line is -7.6. And then the last equation, oh, and also the y-intercept on this one would be at 0.1. So it would be 0, 0.1, and the first one would be 0.6. This one doesn't have anything out there, so the y-intercept would be at 0, 0. And my slope is -3. Okay. Now it gets a little trickier because we actually have to solve the equation for y. Now you can just kind of think of this as rearranging the equation. And because we can't find, y equals some number, it's going to still be an equation with an x, and it's still going to have the 10. And so to solve this for y, I need to add 5x to both sides of the equation. And then when I write this, I'll write the 5x plus 10 because now we have it in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Okay, so now I know my slope is 5. You have to solve for y to find the slope. On the next one, we're going to subtract 3x. Whoops, got some extra stuff in there. Subtract 3x on both sides. Bring down what you have, right? That's gone. So now I have, well, it's not gone, it's on the other side of the equation. And I have -5y equals -3x plus 1. And then, of course, we have to divide because we're solving for y. So y equals 3/5 x minus 1/5. And now that we have it solved for y, we can name our slope. It's right there, the 3/5, right? The coefficient of the x term. And be careful with signs when you're solving. Notice I had to divide by a -5. Okay, so slopes of horizontal and vertical lines, we've talked about those already. When you look at this, you see the slope of 0 and undefined slope are not the same thing. In vertical lines, I have an undefined slope, and horizontal lines have a slope of 0. So the first line, y equals -2, is a horizontal line. So it has a slope of 0. X equals 5. Remember, we're learning to recognize this is a vertical line, and it will have a slope that's undefined. Okay, I'm trying to write this. Oh my. Vertical line, slope is undefined. I don't usually say m equals undefined. You could say m is undefined if you want to say it that way. X equals 0 is also a vertical line. It happens to go through, or it happens to be the y-axis at x equals 0. And so this slope is undefined. I'll say it this way. M is undefined this time. Okay, and so that's just about slopes of horizontal and vertical lines. This is a summary of slope. So it's giving you the formula, how you write your ordered pairs, what it looks like on the graph when the slope is positive, negative, 0, or undefined. And this would be a good thing to keep handy when you're working in this section because, you know, slope can be a little bit confusing for students. So I'm going to stop this video lesson and then start another one to hopefully finish this lesson. All right, see you on the next video.